Is Bitcoin showing signs of a correction about to happen? Let's break down this chart and see if we can find some clues. What is up, gang? It is I, Carlton Flowers, your crypto pro.
Yay!
And today we got to get in a BTC technical analysis update because it's been oh so long. It's been so boring for me, and I've had nothing to report since this pump broke out and all of the side banding that has occurred since January, roughly the 20th. We've been in this side banding, messing around with the purple dash line. Okay, but before we get started, I would like to remind you that this is not financial advice. Please take everything I say with a grain of salt. I am not a person with a crystal ball, and I am not trying to tell you when you should buy or sell Bitcoin, because you can lose your money really fast. It's a very dangerous market indeed. All right, we're going to run through the 4-hour chart, the 1-day chart, and look at the 1-week chart and just try to get an idea of where things are going without the opinions of most popular YouTubers right now who are calling for an all-out bull run breakout to, 1 million. Right now, it's just all blue skies and we're going straight up from here, as everyone is saying. Forget the economy, and, of course, despite all of the negative reports that we have, we've got the CPI going up, the CP lie, where they keep discluding more and more information that should tell us the truth about what the real inflation rate is. Forget the fact that Jerome Powell is still increasing interest rates to beat down that inflation. Forget the world conflict. Forget the fact that the stock market is teetering on the edge of a disaster. Forget the housing crisis. Forget quantitative tightening. Oh, we're just going to 1 million. And as I always say, where's the money going to come from to prop it up? All right, starting on the 4-hour chart. Off the top of my head, I don't see where this breakout is coming from. I'm not clearly seeing it. What I'm seeing here is a bearish stochastic that is headed south. We had a little fake out a little earlier today. I thought we were going to have a crossover here. It faked out, unfurled, and now it's pointing downwards. We also had what looked like a bullish cross here on the MACD oscillators, and it faked out, crossed over, and now it is heading downward. We also are printing red bars on the MACD histogram. Now, what is interesting to me is that we keep fooling around up here on the purple dashed line, okay? And we have touched it here. We actually touched it here. Here we go. How many times are we going to touch this purple dashed line and get rejected before we get sent down to the basement? I don't know, but there's at least 4 or 5 touches where we have been rejected. Now, on the 4-hour chart, it looks like it's kind of a bullish in the micro because we've got the 50 EMA flying high above the 200 EMA and a pretty nice, gap from here to here. Currently, we're sitting at the 50 EMA. Price is kind of centered around the point of control of the VPVR, volume profile visible range. And there's not much volume. It tails off right at the purple dashed line here. And then anything up here, your volume tails off. And then, of course, we've got this massive volume node down below, which is an immediate price target of 20,928 of where we could be going. That also coincides with the 200 EMA line. So bearish stochastic, bearish MACD. We had peak, lower high, equal to lower high. And each one of the groupings on the histogram is getting smaller and smaller and smaller as we get tighter around the 0 line. Okay, so that's the 4-hour chart. Let's jump over to the 1-day chart and just get an unbiased view of what we're looking at. Again, without considering any of the overly bullish calls that are going on right now. What I see staring me right in the face is a rejection here. It's even more clear on the 1-day chart. We have massive rejection here at the purple dash line. Look at this. We fight hard, we bump, we correct, we came right back up, even wicked through it. But notice this. There is not one single candle closing above the purple dash line. Isn't that interesting? That says that this is a very strong resistance. Now, we did stick and kind of wove the price around the 50 EMA or the 200 EMA right here. So it wound around it and then kind of boomeranged and shot up like a rubber band off of this 200 EMA. And it does look like the 50 EMA is racing up to try to cross the 200 EMA, maybe, after this big spike in price action that occurred where we broke out the wrong way and had the short squeeze of a lifetime, which I think is the reason why we had this run. This was a massive short squeeze. We should have broken down this way out of what looked like a clear bear flag, but the short squeeze took precedence over that bear flag. On the stochastic, clear rounding. I mean, look at this. We come on up and several fake outs, and we're rounding off, and now we're officially below the 80 line. And then looking at the oscillators on the MACD, there is a clear bearish crossover right there of the oscillators, and we have moved from the green bars on the histogram to red. All right, what are targets looking like on this chart? Well, we got a cluster sitting out here at 21,000. There's a node here at 20,000. That's the same one that we saw before. And then we got a lot of action here at the top of the line of this cluster at 20,298. And then we have the big node that hopefully will catch us before falling through the red dash line. I had to get that in there. I had to get that in there. Okay, so this volume node is at 19,181. And after that, there's nothing holding us until we get down to this point of control price on the 1-day chart, which is sitting at around 16,832. And that's a possible bottom after this correction is done. That could be a possible return to the base of this whole formation here. Okay, so we could come on down and correct to this and launch off and then start the consolidation period or accumulation period for the next market cycle. Or it could extend and we could remain bearish for the rest of the year. I don't know. Well, let's consult the 1-week chart and see if there's any evidence there of a breakout. There's no evidence here with price peaked, stochastic peaked, MACD oscillators peaked and crossed over. There's no indication to me that we're about to break off and just rocket ship out of this thing right there like the big mouths are saying on YouTube. But we'll see. They could be right. I don't know. Maybe another short squeeze. Usually after a move like this, you don't have a short squeeze. Okay, let me stop talking and get to charting. 1-week chart. What's it looking like? Okay. Oh boy. Well, this looks even worse. Okay, this doesn't make it much better. This is actually pretty bad. Just in my opinion, and you might see something different, but what I see is a red candle right at the purple dash line. And that's a pretty solid indication of a rejection. It almost looks like the beginning of what happened right here or what happened right here. I also see an ugly stochastic situation. Look at the stochastic here. So we went straight up, right? And now, as you can notice, it looks like the fast line has taken a 90-degree turn and is curling over and could be ready to cross over and start to head down. Now, we don't know if we're going to get a double hump like we did back here or a single hump like we did here. But whatever the case, here's the thing that I always say. compare the current price with the positioning of the stochastic. So now let's just circle some things. Here was the market cycle peak, the double top, and we had lower high. We had a breaking point here, and then we got a couple little peaks here, and then we have this one right here. So let's look at what the stochastic is telling us. Of course, on this double move, that coincided with the high. And then with this double move, that coincided with the double top. And then our next stochastic peak kind of shot us up to this one. This little baby one, we had a pause right there. And then our next baby peak here brings us to this lower high. This baby peak, another lower high. And now look at this. We haven't been way up here into the oversold zone for a long time. And now we're way above that 80 line, flying high. But notice what the price that we're returning. Yeah, we got a higher high, but okay, let's look at this. Compare this stochastic peak to where we were way back here. And we're not getting too good of a return for our investment on that stochastic peak. This is a definite lower high in comparison to the last time that the stochastic was above that 80 line on the 1 week chart. So that tells me our trend is still down. We're still headed downward, and I don't see anything that's telling us that we just stay up here like we did back in this time period where the stochastic refused to go back below the 80 line. That usually happens at the top of a bull run, and we're at the bottom of a bear market. So not to say that it couldn't happen, but I haven't seen that happen in recent times in history. Now let's look at the MACD. It is not as ugly, but doesn't look so good either to me, because I mean, look at this. We got a peak here, lower high, and this was almost trying to make a higher high with the oscillator rebounding, but the overall trend is still kind of doing this, staying in the channel of staying in the downward trending movement. And we are still underneath the zero line on both oscillators. And we are printing smaller bars on the histogram. Look at this group here. This set, pretty big. This set, smaller. This set where we stayed above in this whole area here. Okay. However, the bars are probably peaked out, because it looks like the one we're currently in is not surpassing in the last one. And if that candle closes, it will turn light green, and that will confirm that this move is done, that we're not going to go higher. Now, where are we on the VPVR? Where are the targets? Coming out of this point of where we are right now, the biggest target below is this node right here at 19,284. And notice, again, that's at the red dash line. And then there's another node down here at this black dash line at 17,427. And just below that is this big node at 16,716. And that's where I was saying we could go back to the bottom of this previous move where we were, kind of return to the bottom of all of this action that happens in this zone right here. Okay, we could go there, and then we could blast off and come out of this and start the next market cycle that would, do something like that in a lot longer period of time, not right away. Okay, but anyway, the other possibility is this node that's not even shown on the chart because I got to scrunch the price down a little bit. It's down here. Okay. I don't think this is going to happen, but of course we got the big node at 9,000 or so. But there is one thing that we do need to take note of. While I think it's of least probability that we find this cluster here, I'm thinking this is the bottom. As I scroll more in, you see this node jumps out even more when I pull in more price history. I'm going to call that the greatest possibility of the worst case bottom. Okay. But do you notice something new I have on this chart? I have the fib retracements, and here they are right here. Let's look at the numbers. First of all, we are sitting at the 0.5. There it is right there. or we're staring at going back to the 0.5. We are sitting at the 382. Isn't it weird how these strange magical fib retracement lines show pricing pivot points? We come on over and we notice that we pivoted here and we pivoted right here where we're sitting at, coming out of the 382. And then we also notice that at the 0.5, the 0.5 line comes out and defines the bottom of that channel I just talked about. But there is a possibility that we can hit the golden retrace, which is the 618. It's a very important fib retrace level. And notice how the golden 618 comes out right here. And when we look at the price, it coincides with the price that we were talking back in the summer of 11,500. Is that going to happen? I don't know. Is it possible? Yeah. So here's the first case scenario. Here's the worst case scenario. And then here's the absolute worst case scenario, is going down to the golden fib retrace at the 618 level. Will it happen? I don't know. Is it possible? I think so. So again, in summary, this stochastic is buried out to me. That's ridiculous looking. Hadn't happened since back here. And I think that this move right here is done and we're going to correct, despite what everybody else says. Post in the comments, do you think that the bottom is going to be 17,000 or do you think it's going to be 20,000? Do you think there's a possibility that we could have a cataclysmic event that takes place? Like, say, the government not getting the budget set before we run out of money in June. Post it in the comments. And I would love it if you would like, comment, and subscribe to the Crypto Pro channel. And if you would like to be a champion and help me defray the cost of producing these videos, you can do so with a super thanks. And I thank you in advance because, guys, with inflation going, they're raising prices on me with everything, and it's getting more expensive every month for me to do this. But I will respect your help and crank out more videos, as your support is so important to me. That's all I got for this one. This is Carlton, and I am out.